It's something that I've wanted to do for a really long time. I started shoeing horses in 1986, and some health issues a couple years ago. Didn't know if I was going to be able to keep going, and I got over those, and it was kind of a dream to be on the team. The learning curve is extreme and steep, but a really good one. I'm amazed at just what I've learned in the last 4 or 5 months just being on the team. What I've learned in trimming alone is just amazing. The detail is, the devil is in the details, and when you're amongst a group of guys that are at basically what I would consider the tip of the spear, they pick up on the details, the nuances that you get lost in the woods. You just don't see sometimes, you start getting in habits, and I think when you notice that all of your feet start to look the same, something went wrong, because all feet are different. I live in northern Colorado. I'm really fortunate. One team member lives pretty close to me, so we practice 2 mornings a week, and then we have shoe and goes on Saturdays. And as a team, we travel somewhere, host us. Someone will come and help us and provide horses for us, and we travel on our own, and we meet at least once a month. It is a huge commitment. I sat down with my family when I decided to go out for this, and we decided as a family that I would do this because it was going to cost them something. So it requires a great deal of time. You have to put some other things on hold to be able to do it. The keys to success are being willing to accept corrective criticism in a positive way. Being willing to admit that, there's a lot left to learn. I am amazed every day after 36 years of doing this, what I don't know surprises me. So in a team practice, they are very disciplined in that this practice that we're currently at, we're only having 2 goes a day. All the other practices, we've had a minimum of 3 full goes a day. And it ends up being, it's a little bit of work. Yeah, it's kind of jump from one go to the next, and everybody critiques everybody, but yeah, there's some effort involved. We were in Virginia in June, and there were 3 goes a day and some pretty extreme heat. Yeah. We've had quite a few different people just come in and give their time and just to help with forging. Generally people that have been over on the team, been to Stoneleigh, and they lend their expertise and basically tear every aspect of it apart. The forging aspect of it, I think as Americans, we do not understand the anvil as well as we should. There's a real gap in terms of being able to shape and manipulate the stock to actually fit the foot. These days, I primarily work on jumping horses. That's the bulk of what I do, or jumping some dressage horses. So it requires, a great deal of time on your own. There's your individual practice that has to be done very regularly. If I'm not practicing with a team member, I'm generally up in the morning, focusing on the forging aspect of it. And it's not all about making roadsters. The bulk of what I practice are plain stamped and 3/4 forward shoes, and just trying to drive home in my own mind and my own hands the basics, because it always seems to boil down to how quickly and proficiently you can apply the basics. Believe it or not, the very first practice, I learned that I did not know what proper clip fit was. Yeah, something as basic for a horseshoer as clip fit. I apply them every day, almost every foot, and did not really understand what proper clip fit was. Getting the base of the clip forged into the section so that you can decide if, like in Stoneleigh, the fit is the foot has a camper, or the foot sets inside the shoe, so there's a rim of shoe that extends a bit past the toe. And how you achieve that is how you set the base of the clip in. Because we don't have an English system, so for a person who is just basically coming out of shoeing school, I think that our breeding practice in this country, horses, shoeing has become much more complicated. And as the poor breeding practices and the disease that's occurred acquired because of limbs that aren't correctly placed underneath the horse, it requires a greater and greater skill set. So I've seen it over my practice in that you have to have a much higher skill set to be able to compete in today's market and service today's horses than you did 30 years ago, because breeding practices are, quite honestly, their conformation is quite poor. I think one of the avenues in our country is starting to compete. Just get out there, even if you don't necessarily, it doesn't trip your trigger, if you can apply yourself long enough to raise your forging skill up so that you really know how to alter the material to be able to fit, it will prove to be quite profitable later on.